the Orange County Fairgrounds in Costa Mesa, California, this is the Prime Network coverage of Chris Agajanian's Speedway America. Hello, everyone. I'm Larry Huffman. Trackside will be Paul Sunderland, and up here in the box with me, calling the action, is two-time World Speedway champion Bruce Penhall. Scratch racing tonight, buddy.
Boy, a couple of guys to watch. Bobby Schwartz hasn't done very well here lately, and also Michael Freya. Keep your eyes on those two guys.
Okay, besides scratch racing tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we also have those insane New Zealand-American sidecars.
As well as the quads. The quads have been very, very exciting here because there's not much passing around the outside.
Crashes, too.
Exactly.
Some great crashes.
As well as the beautiful bikini girls.
It's disgusting, I'm telling you. We'll be back with all the action, ladies and gentlemen, from Costa Mesa Speedway, the granddaddy of all the speedway tracks, in just a moment. Don't go away. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, at the Orange County Fairgrounds in Costa Mesa, California. Since 1969, Speedway has been an Orange County and Southern California tradition here. The smallest track on the circuit, some would say the most exciting track. Larry Huffman and Bruce Penhall calling the action. The weather tonight, Bruce, it's a little chilly.
It's a little chilly, yeah, in the mid-40s. Humidity at 40%. Winds west to southwest, 15 miles to 25 miles per hour. The forecast is cloudy and a little bit foggy. The motorcycles don't mind it being a little bit cold like this, Larry.
Not only is it the shortest track, Bruce, 1/8 of a mile, flat and level in the corners. There's no banking on this track. The surface is decomposed granite, and the track speeds, they hit between 55 and 60 miles an hour. Very tiny surface, very tiny track. Look at the Speedway America Cup, the series description. We have 12 rounds of competition, 3 different classes of Speedway bikes, those insane New Zealand American sidecars, and quad racers. And the points from the main events, and only the main events, will determine the class champions at the end of the series.
And the points format: first place at 13 points, second place with 9 points, all the way down to 6th place with 2 points.
Standing by trackside is our colleague and man who's come from volleyball to Speedway, and he's done an excellent job, Mr. Paul Sunderland. Paul, take it away.
All right, thanks, Larry and Bruce. I'm looking forward to another great night of Speedway racing. We've got the quads, the sidecars, and, of course, the motorcycles. The track's in great condition, weather conditions perfect as well. Racing of any kind costs a lot of money, and to talk to us about the financial side, at least the sponsorship side, is Steve Lucero. You've got a few patches and a few embroidered marks on here. Obviously, somebody's paying you some money to wear their logos, but how important is it to racing?
Well, it's very important. They pay some of the bills, and if you can't pay any of the bills, you really can't come out here and compete with the big shots like Mike Free and Bobby Schwartz.
How do you go about getting a sponsor?
Well, you have to ride a few years, get a couple mains under your belt, go to the sponsors, say, hey, I want a few mains, I want your backing. You know, you're not asking for too much money, you want some products first, and after that, you just climb up the ladder, just like I did.
All right, right up the ladder and back up to you, Larry and Bruce.
Thank you, Paul Sunderland, and we are ready to go, ladies and gentlemen, now with sidecar heat number 1. Now, these are interesting machines. They are custom made for racing. The engines, they just have to be 1,000 cc. They can be V-twins, Moto Guzzi's, Ducatis, and Harley Davidson. Or they can be inline 4s like Kawasaki's and Suzuki's. They have one upshift, no brakes like a Speedway bike. The third wheel is banked in a weird shape, and they race in the opposite direction, in a clockwise direction. After 5 rounds, Bruce, the sidecar standings.
McIntyre and Fox are leading it with 35 points. Steel and King are right behind him with 30. Fox and Bilger on 17 points. Beenander and Pollard follow up in 4th place with 9 points.
Well, there comes Jim the Animal Fishback, the referee, a former racer himself and a top racer back in the mid-70s and late 70s. He's the referee here tonight at Costa Mesa. Sidecar racing. It's bizarre, it's crazy, and the crowd absolutely loves it. We are ready for sidecar heat number 1.
Talking about Jim Fishback earlier, boy, you don't want to mess with him. Again, you need a referee that has a strong backbone, and boy, did they get the right guy there.
They like him, they respect him. He's fair, he's honest, and he's an ex-racer, so he gives it the racer's viewpoint. You can look at it from the rider's standpoint.
They also don't argue with him because he's one of the largest guys out here as well.
He's very large. It takes 2 pennies to weigh him. The rider to look for in this race, or the team to look for in this race, well, let's take a look at the Ducati. It's an interesting bike. It's a Ducati Italian bike. Dean Steele and Dwayne King, number 99, sponsored by Cycle Lager and Cycle World. Steinlager Lager and Cycle World. Here we go. There's the Ducati right there's a shot of them. Heat number 1, Boyer and Fowl, Steele and King, Ord and Whitson on the Harley, and Fox and Bilger. Here we go. Ready to go. Prime Network coverage, Chris Agajanian's Speedway America. Here we go. Here's the action, ladies and gentlemen, tonight from Costa Mesa Speedway. They're ready to go. They have to pass on the inside. It's tough to pass on the outside. Whoa, wait a minute.
Whitson and Hart getting into the tapes a little bit now. If they break the tapes, they will be excluded. The referee, Jim Fishbeck, is having a look at it. There's our starter, Jerry King.
Jerry King wearing that top from the Liberace garage sale.
Whoa! Whitson. Steele and King going down that back straightaway. They were unaffected by that first corner mishap.
I think they thought that your last place thought there was going to be a restart, but there wasn't. These guys are racing.
The racetrack is very, very slick, Larry. They've got to stay on the groove right around the inside of the track.
Pete Steele and Dwayne King in front, running in
Oh,
second.
there's Steele and King right there. They're going to move over. That looks like Brent Fox and Alan Bilger. Whitson.
Oh, and Harley goes on its head. And I don't think it landed on anybody, but it came close. Ord and Whitson, that is a 500-pound Harley.
Boy, they really got into that corner hot. They overslid, and it looks like they really kind of high-sided with a little help from their friends, Fox and Bilger. It wasn't Fox and Bilger's mistake. Let's see if we can have a look at it on the replay. Whitson is limping. Here they are. Look at, they came down this back straightaway. They threw it in really hard. Now the track's slick. They've got to stay on that groove. They're right hard. Now look at the overslide. Fox and Bilger have no place to go, and they get tangled up right there, and they absolutely high-side and loop out, actually. Boy, they're very, very fortunate.
That landed on him. He would be singing soprano with the Vienna Boys choir. Just barely missed it. That was scary. It'll be a restart. Whitson, Ord and Whitson. I don't think they're going to start. That's it. Quad racing action. They're coming on now for the first quad heat of the night. Quad racers are Honda, Suzuki's, or Yamahas, 500 or 250 cc's depending on the class. Two-stroke, liquid-cooled, highly modified 6-speed transmissions. Special trick suspension setups. This guy's got a lot of money set up in transmissions and wheels and disc brakes, Bruce.
Well, they certainly do. Chris Johnson well away from everybody else with 57 points. Brian Fry on 44. Keith McCoy with 35 points, and Mike Anderson back with 14 points.
After 5 rounds, here we go, the quads. Brian Fry, Chris Johnson, Pat Bell, Keith the Real McCoy, Mike Anderson, and Andrew Buck. Here we go.
Johnson and Fry are in the back row now. Let's see if they can get through those front markers, as well as Andrew Buck.
The rider to look for in this race is Mr. Pat Bell. He's on a Honda 250, 4-track, sponsored by one of our sponsors, MMF Racing and Great Proline Frames. Patrick Bell carries number 3. Quad heat number 1 out, underway, and going out in front, number 36. That's Mike Anderson. Anderson drifts wide, and he's being pressured
by number 3. Pat Bell is right underneath him, but 86. Brian Fry is in 3rd place. The race is back there for 3rd, 4th, and 5th as well.
But Brian Fry started from the 2nd row, Bruce, and he's pushing. He's in 3rd now and pushing 2nd. That's Brian, the yellow Suzuki, in 3rd.
Brian Fry is going to try to have to go around him, but no, these quads cannot do much faster. They've got to stand there. Number 3 is Pat Bell, and winning the heat on number 36, Mike Anderson. There's Brian Fry sorting out the crowd.
They stretch out. It's action number 3 in front. That's Pat Bell. 86, Brian Fry running in 2nd spot. Checker flag. That's it. I think it's... Whoa, Nelly. Number 3, Pat Bell, his first win of the year. Wins the quad heat number 1 here at Costa Mesa Speedway. The site of the national championship in October. Here's a look back. That's the last lap, number 3.
Pat Bell is right there, but look at Brian Fry. He's trying to go around him, but he can't seem to get by Pat Bell.
Beautiful. Paul Sunderland is in the pits. Paul?
Thanks, Larry. With Pat Bell, congratulations, first of all, on your first win of the season. Out here on a very, very tight track. You bump, you hit, you nudge one another. Just how much contact is allowed, and where do you draw the line?
Well, we have a rough riding rule, and we have referees out there, but you're really not supposed to hit each other, but you have contact. I mean, there's just no way to avoid it.
As we were talking, you mentioned it's a little bit like the NBA, a non-contact sport.
Right.
But everybody knows the NBA is a brutal sport.
Yeah, it is, and so is this. I mean, yeah, as you see, I mean, we have get-togethers all the time, and sometimes it's for position, sometimes it's just out of accident. You know, somebody's going faster, somebody's going slower.
All right, that's a nice friendly term. They call it a get-together. I think the racers probably call it something else when we're not around. Back to you in the booth.
Exciting Speedway motorcycle action, ladies and gentlemen, every Friday night. If you come into Southern California, come down and join us in person. Speedway bikes, they're kind of interesting. They're been around since the early 20s, and they haven't changed much. There are 4 brands, Godden, GM, Jawa, and Westlake. Bruce, talk about the engine a little bit. 500cc single.
They're 500cc 4-valve single overhead cams, 70 to 75 horsepower. They have absolutely no brakes. They're single-speed trannies. And the total oil loss system system. That means that the oil goes through the frame, through the motor, all the way out through the racetrack. And the gearing is to suit the riding style as well as the size of the racetrack.
And it's kind of confidential. The riders really don't talk about gearing or tire pressure among the others, do they?
No, they certainly don't. Robert Fetzing is leading after 5 rounds with 24 points. Brad Oxley is right there with a close second with 20 points. Bobby Schwartz on 16 and Billy Hamill with only 1 night of racing with 14 points.
There's Brad Oxley. We talked to him earlier and asked him his strongest quality as a racer.
My best quality, I'd say, is aggressiveness, patience, never say die attitude, and a willingness to get out to the track every night, whether I'm injured, my bike's bent or whatever. I just love to race, and when you lose that enthusiasm for racing, I don't care if you're the most talented, the most gifted, or have the fastest machinery, you're not going to have a chance out there.
Genuinely nice guy, Brad Oxley. All right, we're set now. Scratch racing. Heat number 1. Alan Christian, Brad Oxley, Josh Larson, and Brent Werner. And they go into the first turn, and it is Oxley and Larson.
Oh, Josh Larson makes a very good start. Brad Oxley is right there. Now, Brad Oxley's going to have to wait. Remember, the first 2 will transfer into the semifinal. Brad Oxley does not want to make any silly mistakes and go back to 3rd or 4th.
Christian running 3rd, but right now it's Josh Larson, this guy in front, in the black, still a teenager, holding off Brad Oxley, 31 years old.
Brad Oxley's waiting for that little mistake. They've got to ride that groove. You can see the blue groove around the inside of the racetrack. If they get off of that, they're going to be spinning. They're not going to be getting any traction whatsoever.
It's not slippery, it's traction, right?
Exactly right. Now, Josh Larson, again, right on that groove. Brad Oxley rides the groove better than anybody, as well as Alan Christian in 3rd place.
Okay, so Larson takes the first heat, and he will transfer to the second part of the program. Oxley is 2nd, and Christian and Werner are out of the race, finishing 3rd and 4th, respectively. Take a look at that last part of that last lap. There's Larson on the left, and Oxley trying to come up on him. Larson didn't make any mistakes, Bruce.
No, not any whatsoever. Look at Brad Oxley staying right in that groove. He's just kind of setting up Josh, waiting for a mistake, and Alan Christian 3rd. What a great heat win for Josh Larson, and also Brad Oxley.
We'll be back with more exciting Speedway action in just a moment. Fairgrounds in Costa Mesa, you're watching exciting Speedway motorcycle racing. Larry Hoffman and Bruce Penhall calling it for you. We hope you're enjoying as much as we're seeing it. Fast fact, Bruce, Speedway.
Oh, 10 Americans are currently racing in Europe. Ronnie Corey, Chris McGee, Rick Miller, Charlie Ermolenko, Sammy Ermolenko, Kelly Moran, Sean Moran, Bobby Ott, Greg Hancock, Billy Hamill. Sean Moran has put the most time overseas with 12 consecutive years in the British League.
Rider to look for in this race. One of my personal favorites, Robert Fetzing, number 4. Fetzing is 31 years old. He's on a Westlake, sponsored by TMC, Riviera Engineering, and Dianetics in Valvoline. Robert Fetzing.
Well, this looks like a main event already. Look at Michael Farias in this, Tony Beanert, as well as Robert Fetzing. There's a great shot of Robert Fetzing.
The lineup, ladies and gentlemen, 25 for the Costa Mesa Car Company. Phil Collins from England. 103, Tony the Tiger Beanert. Number 4, Robert Fetzing. And number 1 for Shoei Helmets, Mike the Bike Faria. Let's take a look at Mike Faria. Here he is, brand new leathers, Bates Leathers. Scott and Jill's Pipes and Gold Coast Association. Gonna have to get bigger and get a bigger set of leathers to get all the sponsors on. Mike Faria, beautiful helmet. Look at that helmet.
He's waited so long to have that nice big number 1 on there, and finally he's done it this year.
California and state and national champion Mike Faria. Here we go. He's on the left.
Oh, Tony Beanert gets a flyer out of gate position number 2, but look at Michael Faria around the outside.
Look at Collins. Collins is in the lead.
Oh,
for a moment.
Collins.
Whoa, he's got it. Faria trying to take it away from him. Handlebar down the back straight. Collins on the outside. Faria trying to go to the inside. Collins dropped down.
Michael Faria made the best move of his life right there. He went right back to the groove. Remember, he cannot do much passing around the outside. The dirt is all the way up to the crash wall. You're traveling 3 times the distance. Phil Collins right on the blue groove, and there's no chance that Michael Faria is going to get underneath Phil Collins.
Collins is tough to pass. He's a tough Englishman. The brother of world champion Peter Collins. And he is very, very tough to pass. Checker flag. He's got it. Collins takes it home. Faria takes 2nd, Fetzing 3rd, and Tony the Tiger Beanert in 4th. Collins takes the accolades of the crowd. And a well-earned Now watch, let's look back at the start, Bruce, and watch what happens with Beaner getting that start. He just read the line from Beaner on the right.
That's Phil Collins. Phil Collins made the start.
Yes, Collins.
Yeah, Phil Collins went right to the inside. He made a flyer. He anticipated the tapes. Now what happens if he was to touch those tapes, he would have been excluded. Yep. Michael Freya trying to get around the outside of him. He tries for one lap. Look at, he moves off that line and he spins. He doesn't get any traction. The first thing he does, he goes right back to the inside. Look at him right behind Phil Collins, and he knows there's no way he's going to get around Phil Collins.
Collins gambled and won, Bruce. Paul Sunderland is in the pits. Paul?
Thanks, Larry. With Phil Collins, winner of scratch heat number 2. Were you reading the starter's mind? You got up to a great shot, had a pretty easy ride after that.
Well, I kind of realized that the start is all important in the way the track is tonight. There's a very, it's going to be very difficult to pass the way the track is. It's a blue groove, as they call it. It's like where the rubber is put down on the track, and it's so grippy. Move a little bit wide, and you're on like marbles on the outside. So the start was crucial, and I was G'd up to make it. I got the gator on the inside, the so-called gator, you know. I outgated him, so that was the job almost done right there.
All right, congratulations. Always the start, so important. We'll look for that from you in the finals. Back to you.
There's the crowd checking things out. Like I said, we have families, a lot of little kids, a lot of big kids, a lot of very attractive ladies that come here every Friday night looking for action, and a lot of little kids here. They love Speedway. They sit right down in the front, get dirt thrown on them, and they love that.
And they have a junior Speedway program as well.
You raced it, didn't you?
Yeah, sure did. There's a lot of the guys out here that's raced junior Speedway.
There's number 10, Scott Brandt.
Scotty Brandt's had a little time off. He hasn't been with us too much this year. This is the first time I've seen him.
ZZ Top standing right behind him.
That's the Reverend.
Rider to watch is Chris Manchester, number 130. There's our scores. Oh, they do a great job. Aren't they lovely? All of them are ex-trophy girls here at Costa Mesa.
That's our referee's wife from Middle, Jim.
Chris Manchester's on a Jawa. He's sponsored by Falcon Cable, Shoei Helmets, and Jeans Auto Parts. Number 130, Manchester. And there is Chris Manchester. A look at him, number 130 in the white leathers with a checkered board down the side, reminiscent of Ivan Major's leathers, the 6-time world champion. Chris Manchester coming out there, and there's number 10, Scott Brandt. The lineup, Sean McConnell, Manchester, Brandt, and Charlie Venegas. Venegas is a rider who can either win or crash, and usually does one or the other. He's still a little out of control, but he's a good rider. Got a lot of talent, and hasn't crashed enough to be nervous about crashing.
Sean McConnell, there's a great shot of Sean McConnell. He's been riding very, very well. He's coming off at gate position number 1. It's going to be an interesting first corner.
We had a chance to talk to Scott earlier and asked him about, or Sean rather, and asked him about inspirational sports figures.
What sports figures inspire me? Wayne Gretzky, Marty McSorley, hockey players, and Kenny Roberts, motorcycle racer.
All right, here's the start. Scratchy number 3.
Charlie Venegas gets a very good start, but Sean McConnell's on the group.
Venegas into the wall. McConnell takes the lead.
What a great save by Charlie Venegas. Look at Scotty Brandt going around the outside of Sean McConnell.
Trying to, but he isn't doing it. McConnell's holding him off. Here comes Scott Brandt again, trying to hammer on McConnell. McConnell stays down low. Scott Brandt gets some traction, goes to the outside. Manchester hovering at third, but it's Sean McConnell holding on to the lead.
And Chris Manchester's up the inside. Now Manchester's on the groove. Look at Scotty Brandt's on the outside. He's not gaining any positions whatsoever, and Manchester slips underneath Scotty Brandt as well.
Manchester goes by like a snake oil salesman of the night. Here's McConnell hitting for the checkered flag. Whoa, Nelly! He's got that one wrapped up and sold.
Boy, it looked like he was on a pair of parallel bars there doing
Looked like Doug DeMocus for a minute there.
This guy is all over the motorcycle all of the time. What a happy heat win for Sean McConnell.
Okay, let's take a look back at the start. Slow motion. Gate goes
Look
up.
at Charlie Venegas. He gets a very good start, but what he does, he gets right off the groove. See the blue groove right on the inside? Look at his rear wheel. It's off the groove. He spins, Sean McConnell, and then he loops, and he saves it. He almost hits the crash wall. Sean McConnell was gone, as well as Scotty Brandt and Chris Manchester.
McConnell is kind of the Liberace of Speedway. Look at his showboating here
Look
at the end.
look at that leg, all the way over his head. Boy.
He's just having fun, isn't he, Bruce?
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for his racing whatsoever, but if he wins the heat, who cares, right? You know, I was talking to Bobby Schwartz earlier, and he had a very terrible last couple weeks, and he sorted out this week. This is the last of his week. Let's see what he can do. Here's a shot of Louis Cassuth right here, riding a GM out of Italy, sponsored by Cassuth Racing. Number 66, Louis Cassuth.
There's Bobby Schwartz. We had a chance to talk to him earlier and ask him to describe Speedway racing.
It's a real radical thing. It's kind of a buzz. I mean, you can't really explain it. It's something that it's a feeling on its own. I mean, to slide that bike into the corner, especially on a quarter-mile track, doing 60, 70 miles an hour, entering the corner, knowing you have no brakes and you have to pitch it sideways and be able to scrub off a little bit of speed and then get back on it again and drive it through the corner, it's a feeling.
The lineup. With a fourth scratch heat, Bobby Schwartz, Steve Lucero, Louis Kossuth, and Donnie Too Tall Odom. He got that nickname from Mike Bell, who raced Supercross. Bruce Benhall.
Interesting first corner. Now, Lucero's on the inside, Schwartz is on the outside. Keep her on this first corner. Oh, and Schwartz makes a good start, but Kossuth is there on the groove. Schwartz has got to get back to the groove. Lucero is right underneath Louis Kossuth.
So it's Kossuth in front of the gray leathers. Now, Lucero takes it away from him.
Oh, Lucero moves over Kossuth, and Bobby Schwartz, it looked like Bobby Schwartz could have knocked him down like Louis Kossuth, but the race is continuing on, and there's nothing to stop this race.
And he's mad. Kossuth just shook his fist at Lucero as Lucero went by, and Stevie can get physical.
Bobby Schwartz right behind Steve Lucero. Remember, the groove is there. There's no way you're going to get around anybody tonight. You've got to ride on that blue groove, and the checkered flag's out, Larry. Excuse me,
Steve Lucero takes it home, and Bobby Boogaloo Schwartz is second, and I think Lucero will have a talk with Kossuth in the pits.
We've got to have a look at this on the replay.
I want to see if he hit him. I want to see if he actually touched him.
Actually, I think it was Bobby Schwartz that got more of him. Look at Schwartz is in third place. Now, Lucero gets by him clean, okay? Here comes Schwartz. Schwartz is right on the inside. It looks, let's see if he tapped. No, I don't think he tapped him. I think Kossuth fell down by himself. It was very hard to see with that camera angle, but Kossuth is not happy. No, Schwartz and Lucero went away with 2 heat wins.
So the sidecars come out, ladies and gentlemen, here tonight. Sidecar heat number 2. Chris Agajanian, Speedway America on the Prime Network. There's number 4, Randy McIntyre and Robert Fox. They have been doing extremely well this year. Number 1, Steve Stanton and Tom Tubbs. Rider to the watch, Randy McIntyre and Robert Fox. I think they're currently leading, aren't they? They're on a Kawasaki inline 4.
Yes, they are.
Sponsored by West Valley Roofing. There they are, right there. Number 1. Actually, they're carrying number 4, but they are number 1. Benander and Pollard, number 54. Weaver and Yarrow, number 8. And Stanton and Tufts, number 1. Here we go. Sidecar racing. 130 horsepower, 135 horsepower, 500 pounds.
And McIntyre and Fox coming off the inside line. Oh, and the tapes go up. Stan and Tufts are trying to go around McIntyre and Fox. But remember, the groove is a place to be tonight. Oh, Tufts and Stanton come hard on the inside, but there's no chance of getting underneath McIntyre and Fox.
Randy McIntyre, Robert Fox staying now, going out just a little bit. Now here's a chance for Stan and Tufts to go. They're going to go for it. They just went through.
One little mistake by McIntyre and Fox.
Operation Desert Storm. They're just rolling over the Iraqi army. Look at these guys.
Look at that. They take them out once again. These guys are brutal tonight.
That's from the Charlie Manson School of Racing, Bruce. And look at, they're going to lose.
Stan and Tufts back to the inside. They move off the groove once again.
That's going to be a mistake if they go too far out. Here comes the checkered flag. It's going to be close. Number 1, Stan and Tufts on the right. They've got it.
Stan and Tufts picking up a great heat.
Oh, my goodness. The crowd loves it.
The crowd's going crazy.
Everybody's giving each other high fives up in the stands.
Look at them. They're going to have words. They're upsetting each other. There's no need for that.
They're upset.
McIntyre and Fox are really upset with Stan and Tufts.
Well, let's take a look at the bump, Bruce, and see what you think. Slow motion. Here it is.
Look at McIntyre and Fox are off the line, and Tufts and Stanton come underneath them. Look at, there is room there for him because of McIntyre and Fox are off the line. Okay, they took him a little bit high, but I think they left him a little bit too much room coming into that turn number 4. Look at this, going down the back straightaway. McIntyre and Fox try to lean on him, but where is Tufts and Stanton going to go? They can't go to it. They can't even get it sideways because of Fox and McIntyre there. I think that was a completely safe race on the behalf of Stanton and Tufts. There was nothing they could do about that.
Exciting race.
Great heat.
Let's go now. Thank you, Paul Sunderland. Ready now for the quads coming out now. Lining up on the line here at Costa Mesa. Number 27. There's a good look at number 27, and that is Andrew Buck. Brian Fry, 86. Chris Johnson, 52. Pat Bell, number 3. 25, Keith McCoy. And number 36, Mike Anderson, rounding out the field. Quad heat number 2. Here we go.
Watch this first corner now. Chris Johnson and Andrew, or excuse me, check that. Chris Johnson and Brian Fry are right next to each other, as well as Andrew Buck. This is going to be an interesting first corner.
The rider to watch is Flying Brian Fry. He's won more than just about anybody else. Number 86 on a Suzuki. MMF Racing, JP Racing. Good rider. Very, very intelligent and very professional. Here we go.
Oh, and the flag goes up. Look at Johnson and Fry in that first corner. Remember, oh, Brian Fry gets back to the inside. What a great move by Brian Fry.
Brian Fry goes through, slips through the pack.
Oh,
he's out in front.
Johnson.
52. That is Johnson trying to take it away from him. And they're handlebar to handlebar, and Johnson takes it back.
Oh,
the crowd going crazy.
Andrew Buck is right there with him as well, Larry, in third place. But Chris Johnson is leading this.
He goes to second, Bruce, and Fry finds himself in third spot.
Andrew Buck is having a hard time getting it sideways, going into the corner. Look at Brian Fry putting the heat on Andrew Buck. The white flag out, 1 lap left. Brian Fry cannot get underneath Andrew Buck.
Exciting quad racing action here today, and there's the winner. 52, taking home the bacon, Chris Johnson.
What a great first heat, or excuse me, first lap by Chris Johnson and Brian Fry.
A lot of passing for that little 4-lap race, Bruce.
Let's see if we can have a look at the replay here in that first corner. It all happened in the first corner. Look at this. Chris Johnson's on the far right of your screen. Brian Fry's right in the middle of it. Look at Brian Fry chopped back. Chris Johnson's on the outside. Brian Fry gets a nice back straightaway. Look at Andrew Buck's on the inside. Chris Johnson works it hard, slams it back on the inside, and look at him. He'll pick up all sorts of drive coming down this front straightaway, and that's all she wrote for Chris Johnson.
We go now to scratch semifinal number 1, which means the first 2 go to the main event. That's the big money race of the night. Interesting race, Bruce Penhall.
Oh, it certainly is. Josh Larson, number 145. Phil Collins, 25. 130, Manchester, and 11, Schwartz. Now, Manchester, Schwartz, and Collins, as well as Larson, are going to do something.
The rider to watch is Phil Collins for the Costa Mesa Car Company and Robozzini Electric and Sorello Racing. Number 25 from England, from the Midlands of England. And there he is, the number of Costa Mesa Car Company right on his leathers. These guys are serious. They want sponsorship.
Look at Schwartz is coming out of gate position with number 1. He's at the far left of your screen. Josh Larson is right next to him. But Phil Collins is all the way up there next to the fence, and he's been anticipating the start.
And we got a problem.
Look at Phil Collins was trying to anticipate that start and sucked Manchester into it. The referee is going to exclude Phil Collins.
What a tough break for Collins.
We talked about this earlier. If you touch the tapes, you're excluded. Now, Phil Collins cannot make very good starts, so he has to rely on anticipating, and that's what he's done, and it's got him this time.
You gamble sometimes like we saw Venegas gamble earlier, but this time it didn't work. Collins touched the tape. Used to be if you broke it, you were out.
Exactly, but you see now when the track is this slick, these guys want to get in that first corner first.
Watch it. We got a replay now of him touching the tape. Look at Collins in the middle, from the left of the screen.
He tries to anticipate right there, and he sucks Manchester to it, but there's
Manchester didn't hit it. He hit it first.
Look at their Schwartz. Bobby Schwartz gets a very good start. Manchester's trying to get around the outside of Schwartz. Remember, the Blue Groove is a place to be right now, but Manchester is traveling twice the distance, twice the speed. He's working twice as hard, and he's losing some ground.
Bobby Schwartz, a big lead. He rides a conservative race when he has to, and he's riding a conservative race right now. The battle is for second.
Chris Manchester does a wheelie and slides out. Whoa, that's a little bit of a slow motion crash right there.
Yep, so
Schwartz.
These two black-clad riders, Bobby Schwartz on the left, Josh Larson on the right, they'll go to the main event.
And that's Bobby's protege as well, Josh Larson.
Collins will go to the semi, right? Or the consi, right, Bruce?
Yes, he will.
Collins of Manchester.
There's still another chance for Phil Collins tonight. There's a great shot of Bobby Schwartz. There's a proud daddy right there.
Yes, indeed. Some proud kids, too.
Look at Bobby Schwartz. This is the first corner right here. He's got that rear wheel right on that Blue Groove. Look at Josh Larson right behind Schwartz. But Manchester tries very, very hard to try to get around him on the outside. That dirt is so far out there, he's having to ride twice as fast and twice as far.
Let's see if we can see what happened on the crash here. Watch Manchester in white.
Manchester,
center of the screen.
He's moved off the groove right here a little bit. Look at, he's oversliding a little bit, and he lifts. And he has to lay his motorcycle down. Well, he almost lays his motorcycle down, and then he tips over.
All All right, riders lining up now for the second semi, scratch number 2. The rider to look at, Mike the Bike for Real on a gun sponsored by Russell Racing and Shoei Helmets, who loves soap operas. When he's not racing, he's in love with All My Children. Eric, I think, is his favorite actor. Seriously, loves soap operas. I'm not kidding. Mike Faria.
I was talking to Bobby Schwartz earlier, and they do not use new tires. There's a great shot of
Steve Lucero. Here we go. Scratch semi number 2. Mike Faria, Sean McConnell, Brad Oxley, and Steve Lucero. This could be a barn burner.
Exactly. This looks like a main event here right now, Larry. Now remember, it's so slick. These guys want to get in that first corner first, and they've got to stay on that blue groove tonight.
Lucero on the outside. On the left part of your screen. Oxley in the middle. Number 3 spot. McConnell and Faria on the inside. And then, it's Faria. Lucero heads for the extreme outside.
Look at the guy who was right there at the right time, Brad Oxley. Oh, Sean McConnell almost gets off, and Lucero.
Look at Oxley.
Oh, Brad Oxley gets underneath Mike Faria. Sean McConnell is trying to get underneath Mike Faria as well.
Oxley swept Faria, and Faria goes into the wall and comes back in, and it's Oxley's race all the way.
Sean McConnell tried to go all the way down that back straightaway and take out Mike Faria, and he slid out himself, but Brad Oxley is totally unaffected.
Okay, Oxley in front. In second spot is Lucero. It was kind of confusing. Faria running third and McConnell fourth. Look at the lead Oxley's got.
That's an unbelievable chain of events right there, Larry. Steve Lucero was almost out of the hunt altogether in that first lap, and he saw what happened in front of him, and he took off, and he transferred into the main event. Let's see if we can have a look at that on the replay. There's Brad Oxley, our heat winner.
Brad Oxley riding for Miller, genuine draft, and he's happy. Let me tell you.
He made the worst start of his life, but he's chopped right back. Look at Brad Oxley. Right back on the groove.
Right behind Faria. Faria leading.
Look at Steve Lucero's all the way on the right of your screen. Sean McConnell almost slides out. Look at Lucero. Now, he'll almost pull off. Steve Lucero's in blast, okay? And Brad Oxley goes charging underneath Faria, moves Faria.
He didn't hit him, though. He didn't touch him.
And Sean McConnell squeezes by. Now watch this. Sean McConnell is going to race. Look at Sean McConnell almost slides out. Look at Mike Faria. Mike Faria gets off the groove. Steve Lucero is back in the hunt and transfers into the main event. So important, Larry. Steel and King, number 99. 88, Boyer Faust, number 1. Stanton Tufts, 54, Benander and Pollard.
Here's a start.
Stan and Tufts are on the outside. They've got to get to the groove. There's number 54, Benander and Pollard, right down there on the inside of the track. That's right where they have to be.
Right on that blue groove you were talking about earlier, Bruce.
Now the pair that we have to watch is Stan. Oh, look at there, right there, number 99. That's Steel and King are trying to move him. Yes, Steel and King get by Boyer and Faust.
They go to second. 135 horsepower. 500 horsepower, 3-wheel rocket ships. They burn methanol. Actually, they can burn whatever they want except nitro.
Number 54, Benander and Pollard right there.
In front.
There's a shot of number 99, Steel and King, and back to Benander and Pollard. You can see the sidecar passengers laying right on the side of the racetrack.
White flag out, 1 lap to go. Still 54, Benander and Pollard in front. 99 in second spot. Steel and King, and there's no change at all. Checker flag, they got it.
Larry, one of the biggest reasons the racetrack is so slick, they've had a circus on this particular track all week long, and our track man, Brad Oxley, hasn't been able to touch it until today. So it's a little bit slick, although the quads really make the track a lot slicker as well.
Take a look at the pass here in the race for second. Watch the battle for second on the left.
Steel and King right there on the inside. Look at them. And it looks like Boyer and Faust move off the line, and Steel and King go right back to the inside. Remember, they've got to stay on that blue groove. They slipped off the blue groove, and it's so slippery out there, they cannot get any traction whatsoever.
From the 3-wheel sidecars to the 4-wheel quad main event, we go now, ladies and gentlemen, at Costa Mesa Speedway on the Prime Network. Chris Agajanian's Speedway America. I'm Larry Huffman, my colleague Bruce Penhall, ready to go for the quad main. The rider to look for is Chris Johnson on a very, very highly modified Honda, a 250, sponsored by MMF Racing. And again, the sponsors of the race, MMF Racing and JP Racing. Couldn't do it without you. Here we go.
Brian Fry, Chris Johnson, Pat Bell, Keith McCoy, Mike Anderson, and Andrew Buck. Now remember, the race is between Brian Fry and Chris Johnson. The flag goes up. Brian Fry gets a good start. Andrew Buck is right on the groove. Brian Fry's in second place. Where's Chris Johnson?
Brian Fry running second. That's Andrew Buck out in front, and he is on that Honda, and he is flying.
Andrew Buck, now he's quite a tuner. He tunes not only these quads, but jet skis as well, is leading this quad main event. Brian Fry is trying to stay on the line. Oh, there's a crash in third and fourth place. I believe that's number 3. Our yellow flag's out.
Still number 27, Andrew Buck holding on to the lead, and number 86, Brian Fry is concentrating on catching him, but the red flag comes out.
Our referee, Jim Fishbeck's going to stop the heat. The two quads are stuck together on the back straightaway right there. It looks like Pat Bell, number 3. Have a look at him. They're in third and fourth place right here. Pat Bell's on the inside. And boom, right there it happens. That looks like Pat Bell running in the back of, check that. Pat Bell was run into. I can't get the number off the quad that ran in the back of him.
Hard to tell at this angle, Bruce. They're going to start the race from the last lap completed, which I believe was lap number 4. Or lap number 3. So they're doing some body work here on number 3, on machine number 3, Pat Bell. Good look at them, how modified these machines are.
It almost looks like they're an off-road short course car. The way
they really do, don't they?
The
Mickey Thompson race.
Tear apart.
There's another shot at it. I still can't see the number on that guy.
Well, we know that's Pat Bell, and it was not Pat Bell's fault whatsoever. There's our referee, Jim Fishbeck.
Staggered start, Bruce.
Telling our starter, Jerry King. See the button in Jim Fishbeck's hand? That's the starting gate mechanism. That's what triggers the starting gate to go.
27, he's talking to Andrew Buck.
Andrew Buck.
Here we go, the restart of this quad main event. A shortened main event, we might point out.
Oh, and Andrew Buck doesn't get the start. Yes, Andrew Buck gets the start. Pulls Brian Fry off the groove. It looks like number 3, Pat Bell, in second place.
It's not a shortened race. It's a complete restart of this race, Bruce. 27 in front is Andrew Buck.
Andy Buck right on the inside. He cannot move off that groove. Pat Bell running second.
Here comes Fry hard in third in the yellow Suzuki. And Fry is running like a man possessed in third spot. Number 86, right there's a shot at it. Going extremely wide is Andrew Buck up against the wall.
Look at Brian Fry has gone back one more position. He's moved off the groove and has allowed 2 quads to get by him, but the leader is number 27, Andrew Buck. Pat Bell in second, number 3. Andrew Buck, one of the tuners here for these quads, as well as a quad jet ski tuner. Here's the race once again, number 32. It looks like that's Chris Bell. Check that. Chris Johnson.
Checkered flag balls. Number 27, Andrew Buck. Buck takes it. Number 52 running in second spot. Chris Johnson in third spot. Number 3, Pat Bell. Then number 86, Brian Fry. Not a good night for Fry, but an excellent night for Andrew Buck. Here's the battle for second, the pass, the last lap.
That's Chris Johnson on the inside. Look at, he was right on the groove, and Pat Bell moved off the groove, and there was Chris Johnson waiting for that little mistake. Sure enough, see how he moves off the groove and he just spins. He loses 2 places right there.
Coming up now, the scratch main event, the big money race of the night. This is the scratch main on Chris Agajanian Speedway America. Larry Huffman and Bruce Penhall calling the action. There's Bobby Schwartz, former national champion. A good lineup, would you not say, Bruce Penhall, for this main?
What a main event here. There's a shot of Bobby Schwartz now. Bobby Schwartz rides the groove very, very good. But I think the most important thing, obviously, is going to be the start, the first corner. Now, let's see who draws what as far as positioning. That's going to be very important as far as the first corner, Larry.
Rider to watch, Bruce Penhall, in this race. You got to look at Josh Larson, number 145. He's sponsored by Prime Ticket. He's riding a Godden, still a teenager, Russell Racing, and Uri Grips, the sponsors. of young Josh Larson, former National Junior Speedway champion.
There's a shot of Josh right there, but now Steve Lucero is coming out of gate position number 1, and Schwartz is right next to him on 2. But Brad Oxley had a sensational last semifinal ride.
Yes, he
so
did.
this is going to be, see, Brad Oxley has turned around now. He's trying to burn off his tire a little bit. A new tire is not what you want right now.
Really?
You want a scuffed off tire because you're riding on a groove. You want something that's going to bed in right away. It's very, very slick starting with a brand new tire this late in the night.
Are the riders allowed to put new tires on before the main?
Yes, they can.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the stretch main underway.
Oh, Schwartz makes a great start and pulls it right down on Steve Lucero. Lucero does not know what to do. Schwartz is gone. Josh Larson is right behind Boogaloo. Bobby Schwartz and Brad Oxley's in 3rd place.
Lucero trying to play catch up, and it's only a 4-lap main event. And Bobby Schwartz is in control.
Schwartz knows how to ride these groove tracks very, very good. Look at Bobby Schwartz. He made a brilliant start. Was totally unaffected by what Steve Lucero did behind him, and Brad Oxley is working on Josh Larson.
The battle is for second, ladies and gentlemen, right there. Larson on the right, Oxley on the left. But it's about a half lap to go, and Bobby's hitting for the trigger flag. And there it is. Bobby Schwartz wins it. Larson takes second. Brad Oxley 3rd, and Lucero a very unhappy 4th place. Welcome back to Costa Mesa Speedway, ladies and gentlemen. Larry Huffman and Bruce Penhall. Bruce, let's take a look at the standings now after this round. Kind of interesting. We've had some changes. Steele and King look good tonight. They took over the lead in the sidecars. McIntyre and Fox into 2nd place with 35. A tie for 3rd. Bilger and Fox and Benander and Pollard.
And the quad racer point standings after 6 rounds. Chris Johnson way ahead with 66 points. Brian Fry right there with 48 points. Keith McCoy on 37. And Pat Bell with 19 points.
But what about Bobby Schwartz? Won that main event after 6 rounds. It's a surprise. Oxley has just slipped into the lead with 26 points. Fetzing and Schwartz tied for 2nd with 24 each. And Josh Larson in 4th with 20. Let's go down trackside with our colleague Paul. Paul, take it away.
Thanks, Larry. Here with Bobby Schwartz, winner of the scratch main, and you were in the 2 slot at the start. You and Steve Lucero hooked up a little bit at the beginning of the race. You somehow got through that trouble.
That's right, and I got to the first turn first, dropped it down on him on the inside, and stuck it right on the pole, and led for the 4 laps, so it was a great win.
All right, you've been doing this a long time, racing here at Speedway. How much longer are you going to go?
I want to go until it stops being fun, and right now I'm having way too much fun, and I'm really enjoying it. This is my 18th season of doing Speedway, and I just love it, and I spent quite a few years in Europe with Bruce Penhall, who's announcing on the show. So I really enjoy my racing, and as long as I'm winning, I'm happy.
All right, winning makes it all go around. Bobby Schwartz, winner of the scratch main. Back up to you, Larry.
Thank you very much, Paul Sunderland. On behalf of Bruce Penhall, I'm Larry Huffman. A lot of exciting racing tonight. Chris Agajanian, Speedway America. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.